I mean, this is a political party that thinks gender is just a state of mind, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, we have trouble with moderate biological males. I mean, who is surprised about this?
Is Obama in the wrong here with how he's talking about black men in particular and singling them out in this way?
Yeah, let's start from here. He is still the greatest living retail politician. He's objectively a top 15 president, but even he can swing and miss sometimes. And here he swung and missed. Here's what he did. Harris has been very strategic about when and how she's spoken about gender and race. And he stepped on that, and when she hasn't spoken about it, he stepped on that message. And I think also with those comments, and there's more to this, but let me just start with this, is that he forgets, at least in that moment, that she doesn't get the benefit of being a historic first the way he did. She's a historic first woman if she wins.
Maybe that's part of the problem, that's what he's saying. Why doesn't she get the benefit?
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have to remember that this is a thing, like Barack Obama has a history of kind of chastising specifically black men. And it's only specifically black men that he takes this tact that doesn't work.
Why do you think that is?
Because you know why.
No,
because
tell me.
The second most loyal, the most progressive group of men on the planet, they don't care about. They assume that they have their vote and they don't have to do anything for it. And the point of this is that if you don't vote for Kamala Harris and you're a black man, something must be wrong with you. That is the subtext of everything that they're saying.
Shaming voters is a terrible idea. It was bad when Hillary Clinton did it with deplorables. It was bad when Mitt Romney did it on the eve of the election. Even if there's a grain of truth to it and there's the occasional radio caller that's going to admit to that sentiment, let's actually look at the fact that Biden was struggling with black voters, and that was a topic of conversation over and over again. So it's not about sexism.
Hold on one second. Let me take a look at this. Let's take a look at the numbers, because I think just to see what we're talking about here. There's been a progressive decline in overall support among black men and, to a lesser degree, black women for the Democratic nominee. Biden was doing better among black men than Harris appears to be right now, based on some of the better polling that looks at these demographics. So I guess the other part of this is, you're talking about keep the business private. You're saying he's messing up the strategy, but the numbers are the numbers. And he's trying to fix a numerical problem that she has, a math problem that she has.
Right. I agree with most of what you were saying, Solomon. I don't think the problem is that he spoke it out loud. I think the problem is that he singled out black men. In other words, there is a sexism component to this race. There was a sexism component to the Hillary Clinton-Donald Trump race. Right, if Trump wins, he will have only ever beaten women. I can't give you a number, but sexism is in the mix here. But it's not black men specifically. I think it's men, not black men. And that, I think, is part of where Obama went wrong.
And I think we also have to look at numbers and actual statistics, right? Because all of those reliable polling has a small demographic of black men. You're talking about most of them poll at most 40, 50 black men, right?
Well, I don't think in this particular case, just to be clear about what we were looking at there, the exit polls were from the actual elections that we had. And then the Pew polling, Pew looks more closely at specific demographics. And they do that in a way that we, as a news organization, deem to be a reliable way of looking at this. Not every poll is reliable, but we think this one is.
And when you remember now, we had the same conversation 2 years ago about Stacey Abrams. Why won't black men support Stacey Abrams? And after the election was over, we saw the numbers, and black men in Georgia, where I live, supported Stacey Abrams at higher rates than they supported Biden. So we have this narrative, and then you have the truth, and you have this conjecture and
but the candidates are speaking with their actions. Kamala Harris next week is sitting down with Charlemagne the God to talk to black men. They're being explicit about it.
And she should.